Imagine being in a world where you have to navigate the fact that Black boys get either misdiagnosed, not diagnosed at all, are diagnosed so much later in life with autism that all of the crucial milestones and developmental areas that you can actually intervene in, you miss. Imagine being a Black father of that child and recognizing when you go online that this is a conversation that does not get had whatsoever. Like, that is the world that we unfortunately live in today here in 2025. And it's the reason why, we have started our first ever Black Boys, Men, and Fathers Summit hosted by Autism and Black. And I'm yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre. You know me as, the CEO and founder of Pierre Medical Consulting, but I'm also the co-founder of Autism and Black, an organization I founded with my wife. And if you're a podcast listener, you hear her on, the introduction. She's been on our show a lot, right? She's one of my favorite guests, of course, right? I'm biased, but I wanted to do this show today to kind of highlight a conversation, more importantly, an event that we're having March 8th, depending on when you're watching this, where we actually start having a conversation. And more importantly, we want to make it so that the conversation becomes so common when we talk about Black boys, Black men, fathers, especially in the world of autism, that it doesn't seem like foreign or it doesn't seem like a shock or surprise. Now, we've been with the organization, founding this organization for about 4 or 5 years now. And I've seen over this, past half decade, there's almost like this small growth of just men and fathers, right, who are championing a cause to just say, hey, I'm here, I'm available, to the point where we ended up having a panel of just Black fathers, and it was one of our most highly sought after, highly reviewed panels of the conference. And we've been doing the conference for 4 years, going on 5 this year. Talking to Maria, I said, all right, it's clear that the demand is there. More importantly, it's clear that the conversation just isn't happening. And if we allow the thought of, I'm just going to wait until someone else starts having a conversation and then we'll jump in, it will never be done, right? And that was kind of the brainchild behind hosting this summit. I hope, especially here in the community, that you were able to attend our Girls and Women Summit, which was phenomenal summit, phenomenal speakers. So when we say, we want to do it again, but hey, we want to kind of turn the camera. We want to change the subject and make it about the boys, make it about the men, make it about fathers in their life. We wanted to make sure that, no disservice was done. Because again, I won't typically do anything where I feel like any disservice is going to be done, especially to the men. Obviously, I'm biased. So it was a brainchild of mine to say, we just talked to the women, we just talked to the girls, right? Let's talk to the boys, let's talk to fathers, let's talk to the men out here and let them know that when they are seen, when they are heard, and when that there's an avenue to have a conversation. So I'm very excited to really bring you this discussion that we're going to have about our summit and really kind of just talk about my thoughts on why I felt that, we needed to have a separate summit. For those who've been attending the conference these past 4 years, kind of a nice little spectrum of conversations going, whether we're talking to parents, whether we're talking to adults, teens, kids, like we try to make sure we try to cover the gamut. But I wanted to make sure that with this summit in particular, not only do you see that, hey, there are male leading voices in the community who are ready to run and ready to help. Because obviously, typically we have my wife, Maria, who's our superstar, host a conference, but I'll be holding it down. I'll be holding down hosting duties this summit. I wanted to see different vantage points, different conversations that don't typically get had, or if they do, it's maybe 1 out of 20 sessions. Even with our conference, even though we would love to spend, 50% of the conference focusing on, male-centered topics, we just can't, right? Because we have an audience we have to tend to. So it's so interesting to see not only the excitement around the start of the conversation, but more importantly, and my wife will tell you, whenever I'm doing an event like this, whether it be our conference, whether it be the Girls Summit, I'm always thinking about the next. So while I live in the moment and I can understand the excitement in the moment of what it means to have a boys summit, Black boys, men, and fathers, what it means to have that, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I take the idea of this type of summit and make sure we extend it to grow in 4 to 5 years, right? It's for me, it's all about the long game. In our autism community, especially Black autism community, it's been so long that the conversation hasn't been centered around the Black autistic community, that I just felt that if I would be doing it the disservice to almost be like, all right, hey, I'm gonna drop this off, do this nice event, and maybe we'll do it next year. We don't sign up for these things to just do it 1 year and then let's try something different next year. Those who may know, we're actually going into our fifth, yes, that is right, fifth conference for the Autism Black Conference. Actually this year, right, quick little side note, this year we're actually going to be doing both an in-person and a virtual. Now, if you've been attending the Autism Black Conference for the past 4 years, we have done it 100% virtual. It was born out of the pandemic times where no one was really going to conferences. So we had always done it virtual. But over these past couple of years, we just kept hearing, hey, you know what? We need to do live. We want to do live. We want to do it live. So we're bringing it live, right? So I'll have information in the show notes about that. Again, today's conversation isn't about the general conference that we're having. It's really about this summit and what this summit is. It's going to be a one-day virtual summit where we're going to have a slew of speakers just talking about not only their lived experiences, because we are going to have some neurodivergent speakers speak on their lived experiences, but speak on different vantage points that affect Black boys, that affect Black men, that affect fathers. More importantly, they can take action on to the next step. Big thing we've been doing, especially in our community, is focusing on the aspect of community, right? Like we've been focused on recognizing that these events, whether it be the summit, whether it be a webinar, these events aren't siloed together. They are things that we want to help kind of build and grow our community to make sure that you never feel alone. You never feel that, hey, I've got these problems. I'm the only one dealing with these problems, which a lot of us unfortunately are. We want to make sure that that's never going to be the case. So we're excited about this event, right? Again, it's going to be a one-day event. It's on March 8th. It is going to be free as well, right? If that doesn't draw enough interest, right? It is going to be free, right? And the reason why, because, our conference, obviously we charge for the conference, a lot more in-depth things to do with the conference. But with this summit, we wanted to provide and make sure that everyone had the opportunity to enjoy a good time, right? Like, so I think we're going to have a great time, right? I think we're going to knock it out the park. We'll probably do better than our Girls and Women Summit. And I think that's just because of the steamroll effect. I think people are going to realize, like, wow, the Girls and Women Summit, which if you have not had a chance, I'll put a link in the show notes to catch the replays because those conversations were amazing. I think we're going to, just from a momentum perspective, we're going to have more and more people interested in the summit, especially because it's a month before our actual conference. So I think just that combination of people being excited for the conference and figuring, hey, let me check out this summit to see what they're talking about in this summit to maybe lean me in thinking about the conference. Like, I think that combination is why I think we're going to have a pretty good summit. And again, the conversation is about the boys, it's about the men, it's about the fathers, right? It's about a conversation that continues to need to be had. And we're just excited to have it. We're excited to, as a organization, the Autism Black, we're excited to be the ones who are willing to put our necks out there and say, hey, you know what? This conversation isn't happening enough and we're about to do something about it. One thing about me, right? If I see that something needs to be done, just like, I'm a physician, right? When you hear code blue, you run towards, in the healthcare world, you run towards the code blue, right? Like you run towards where people need help. And with Autism in Black, for us, it's always about responding to the code blues in our, community, the Black autistic community, right? Responding to where people need help, going to them, providing that bridge that they may need to, help cross over troubled waters. And I'm very excited that we're going to be bringing it to you. Again, it is, plugging it away, March 8th. It is going to be from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is free. I will have information in our show notes for you guys to be able to, register, and you'll get access to, especially everyone who registers, you get access to our Facebook group where you get to join not only registrants from the Boys Summit, but you also get to join past residents from the Girls Summit. We're going to keep this thing rolling, right? So the people who were in the Girls Summit, as long as they didn't leave the Facebook group, right? Like they're going to have a chance to enjoy watching the summit as well too. So we're just very excited for what's to come. And as the co-founder of Autism in Black, I hope that, I can continue to inspire those who are working in the Black autistic community, right? To do better and to do more for those who need help and assistance. I'm yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre, and I'm going to see you guys hopefully at the summit.